Hey there YouTube, Wrestling Optimus here, back with another action figure review. It's Wednesday, the best night of the wrestling week, which means it's time for AEW Dynamite on TNT. I'm also excited because I'm putting the finishing touches on my brand new custom-built AEW stage, and it should be ready for next week's video. As always, if you're new here, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more pro wrestling and action figure content. Now, we're headed into Daly's place, so for a recap and review, let's take it over to the action figures. Actually, I apologize in advance for the lack of figures in this video. That's just the way the show worked out, and my AEW collection is still rather limited until my unrivaled figures arrive. Dynamite jumps right into the first round of the World Title Eliminator Tournament. Wardlow takes on Jungle Boy in a classic power vs. speed matchup. The story is that every time Jungle Boy goes for a move, it's either ineffective or gets countered. For example, he tries a Hurricane Rana on the outside, but Wardlow just catches him and buckle bombs him into the ring post. The tables are turned later in the match though, when Wardlow attempts another power bomb, only for Jungle Boy to reverse it into the previously attempted Hurricane Rana. That's the start of a nice comeback, but it's not enough. Wardlow sends Jungle Boy spinning through the air with an F10 and moves on to round 2. In the first of 2 incredible video packages, Jon Moxley says he keeps his circle tight because true friends are hard to find. Still, he let Eddie Kingston in because of his honesty, integrity, and loyalty. Nobody knows how hard Eddie had to grind better than Moxley. That's why no one was happier when Eddie got signed by AEW. Then he changed, and Moxley doesn't know this bitter, whiny, miserable guy anymore. Even though Moxley always had Kingston's back, he still thinks Mox owes him something. Well, he's not going to apologize for his success, or for trying to make his family's life better. Back in September, he was proud to share the ring with Eddie, but now he's embarrassed. Sure, Kingston didn't tap, but that's only because he was too busy falling unconscious. That's why at Full Gear, it's going to be an I Quit match, so Moxley can make Eddie verbalize his surrender to the world. He's going to torture Eddie until he gets his friend back, or ends him. Before our second tournament match, it's announced that Joey Janela came into contact with someone who has COVID. So, his tag team partner Sonny Kiss will be taking his place versus Kenny Omega. Frankly, the opponent doesn't matter, because this was all about putting Kenny's ego on full display. Keep in mind that this is his first singles match since April. Yet, he came out with the pomp and circumstance of a Wrestle Kingdom main event in the Tokyo Dome. The lights go out, and as a new epic video plays, Justin Roberts begins rattling off all of Kenny's accolades and achievements, being sure to highlight his success in tournaments. It's fairly basic stuff until he says that Omega is so fluent in Japanese that he sometimes translates for Michael Nakazawa, or my personal favorite, boasting that Kenny once performed in North Carolina. Interestingly, 2 women come out of the heel tunnel carrying brooms and signaling the return of Kenny's cleaner persona. However, Omega himself comes out of the babyface tunnel to all the pyro. It's the perfect setup for a complete squash. Omega immediately hits a V-trigger and a one-wing angel to get the victory while wearing one of the most memeable smirks I've ever seen in my life. Afterwards, he helps Sonny up and makes a huge show of being a good sport. He holds up Sonny's hand, hugs him, and praises his performance, yet it all comes across as so self-indulgent and self-congratulatory that even Sonny seems uneasy about it. I absolutely loved this. In Omega's own mind, the best bout machine is back, baby, and he's ready to dominate the singles division after a disappointing first year in AEW, at least by his standards. He wants to frame this as a redemption story, but really, it's all just overcompensation for his insecurities about Hangman Adam Page. Kenny is trying to convince himself that he's better than Hangman because deep down, even he doesn't believe it. So he comes out with this elaborate entrance reminding everyone of his accomplishments and then proceeds to squash his opponent in humiliating fashion. Only after the fact does he even attempt to appear humble. This was brilliant character work. Tony Schiavone interviews Orange Cassidy. He asks him about the loss to Cody last week. and Orange says, sometimes calls go your way, sometimes they don't. Tony asks about their rematch next week. Cassidy responds, we're on to Cincinnati. When Tony reminds him that they're staying in Jacksonville, he just says, whatever, and fiddles with the TV behind him. Please never change this character. Meanwhile, Dasha finds Cody and Arn Anderson in the parking lot. She asks for Cody's thoughts on the rematch next week. Cody isn't surprised that AEW would want a rematch, but he is surprised how fast they booked it. He also heard that there will be a stipulation added. Still, he retains his champion's advantage and his confidence, considering he already beat Orange Cassidy once. Dasha also asks about the 14 pounds that Cody gained during his hiatus. He says that he's had to go up against Jake Hager, Lance Archer, and Mr. Brody Lee, so it was about time to become a true heavyweight again. In a moment of arrogance, he calls himself AEW's Giant Killer, then says he's off to watch the tournament. It's time for Eddie Kingston's equally incredible response. He starts by addressing the family. Penta and Phoenix are about to show why they're the best luchadors on the planet. Then, the Butcher and the Blade are going to win the Fatal 4-Way and take out FTR for the tag team titles. As for John, what he said was all true. Eddie hates what he's become, but he had to turn into a bitter, angry snake. When he wasn't, he got nothing. Now, he's getting a world title shot in an I Quit match. Well, he's never quit anything in his life, and he's not going to start at Full Gear. Moxley's going to have to go to a deep, dark place in order to beat Eddie, and Kingston already lives there. The aforementioned tournament match between Penta El Zero M vs. Rey Fenix is next. Fittingly, Eddie Kingston joins commentary, and just like last time he was there, rips into all three men throughout the match. Phoenix wants to shake hands at the start, but Penta is hesitant. Eventually he gives in though, and they embrace. Their sibling rivalry is the driving story of this match, and a major talking point on commentary. Apparently, early in their careers, Penta refused to acknowledge his little brother. Now, their bond is so strong that they're able to counter each other's every move. Fraternal one-upsmanship leads to a hard-hitting chop battle. Rey nails an amazing tornado off the top rope, then tries to run across the top rope, only to get violently knocked off by Penta. Phoenix hits one of my favorite moves, the Spanish Fly, but it's still not enough. Penta pulls out a flipping pop-up powerbomb to get back momentum until Phoenix fakes an injury. Later, when he tries to play possum a second time, Penta doesn't fall for it, but his move is reversed into a Canadian Destroyer, allowing his brother to get the win and advance. In a quick video, best friends say breaking Kip's video game was an accident. Kip says the machine was named Allen, or Automated Logistics Arcade Network, and it was not only one of a kind, it was his most prized possession. Miro wanted to be a nice, cool guy here in AEW, but best friends broke that when they broke his video game. Alex Marvez is backstage with Colt Cabana, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds before Colt's tournament match. Reynolds says tonight is all about seizing opportunities like Mr. Brody Lee taught them. Colt says he's got a lot going for him, so he doesn't feel any pressure. That causes Silver to freak out. He says the whole Dark Order is under pressure. He doesn't even like Colt, but claims he's going to be the next AEW World Champion. He also claims that he and Reynolds are about to win the tag team titles, and then Mr. Brody is going to win back his TNT title. Speaking of which, the entire Dark Order will be ringside for Cody and Orange Cassidy's rematch so they can beat down the winner. That brings us to the final tournament match of the night, Colt Cabana vs. Hangman Adam Page. Only Evil Uno accompanies Colt to the ring. Hangman is super aggressive throughout, but still conflicted from everything with the Elite. For example, during a commercial, he contemplates powerbombing Cabana through a barricade, but stops himself, seemingly because it's too cruel. Page eventually goes for the buckshot lariat twice, but Colt ducks out of the way each time. So, on the third attempt, Hangman pump fakes before delivering the final blow and picking up a victory to advance. Strangely, Stu Grayson, along with 5 and 10 of the Dark Order, come out and help Colt to the back. We get a quick video of Sammy Guevara and his creepy conspiracy theory board. He lights another picture on fire, this time with the date of Full Gear on it. All of Team Taz come to the ring to cut a promo. Taz says that he's got two problems. One, Will Hobbs. They made him an offer to join Team Taz, but never got a response. Does Hobbs think he's a big shot now? Taz demands an answer, or he'll sick Brian Cage on him. 2. Darby Allin and his shot at the TNT title. Ricky Starks was the victim of a screwy finish. Why does it seem like Darby gets everything that he wants, while Brian Cage and Ricky Starks get nothing? Ricky chimes in, saying that he always gets the rug pulled out from underneath him, and now he has to watch some other guy get his title shot. Starks doesn't know where or when, but he is going to put Allin in his grave. It's finally time for the Dinner Debonair with Chris Jericho and MJF. They're seated at a small table together wearing suits. Jericho enjoys a nice white while MJF opts for a red. Max insults their waitress, Velma, before ordering a 20-ounce porterhouse well done. Jericho laughs and orders his medium well. They go back and forth until they both wind up ordering, quote, bloody rare steaks. Then, Jericho calls out MJF for being rude to everyone, like the valet and the old lady on the steps, and announces that the Inner Circle is going to have a town hall next week to figure out whether or not MJF should join. In a final pitch, MJF says that this is a gigantic opportunity for the two biggest stars in wrestling to team up. Although Jericho is still hesitant, they bond over their hatred for Orange Cassidy. MJF smirks and says, "Just picture it. Us. Together." They both give cheesy grins, and I can't believe they're actually doing this. We get a full-blown Broadway-style musical number complete with choreography and dancing ladies. They sing a rendition of the Rat Pack's Me and My Shadow with altered lyrics poking fun at various AEW wrestlers. MJF shows off his notoriously good singing voice while Jericho, the literal professional singer, sounds comparatively shitty. There are so many little moments, but my favorite is when they go to dip their dance partners and just drop them. Everything about this was absolutely brilliant. When they come back to the table, the punchline is that their steaks are completely raw and inedible. What do you even say about that? It was original, creative, hysterically funny, and the production value was top-notch. I don't know how Chris Jericho keeps managing to outdo himself every week, but one key is freedom. AEW isn't afraid to try these bold ideas, and it keeps paying off. Meanwhile, can you imagine trying to pitch this to Vince? Once again, in the sole women's segment of the night, we get a serviceable TV match between Britt Baker and AEW Dark stalwart Kylan King. The doctor is wearing pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Tony Schiavone claims that he was given note cards by Baker with talking points that he's required to discuss under penalty of a back fist to the face. Predictably, Britt Baker wins with the lockjaw. Darby Allin does a jackass stunt with Steve-O where he rolls down a skateboard ramp in a body bag. I guess this was supposed to show how tough he is ahead of his TNT title match against Cody? I thought it was dumb, but whatever, I still love him. It's time for the main event Fatal 4-Way match to determine the challengers for the AEW Tag Team Championships. First out, the Butcher and the Blade, accompanied by the Bunny, who turned her back on QT Marshall on this week's Dark. Next is Private Party with their mentor Matt Hardy, followed by Alex Reynolds and John Silver of the Dark Order, and finally, the Young Bucks. FTR joins commentary and act antagonistic towards all of the other teams throughout the match. During a commercial break, Matt Hardy goes to help Isaiah Cassidy, but gets attacked by Sammy Guevara, and they brawl to the back. Dark Order tries to recruit the Butcher and the Blade in the middle of the match, but get distracted by the Bunny. Later on, John Silver runs absolutely wild on everyone. Private Party hit the silly string and a top rope splash. Then Nick Jackson cleans house before the Young Bucks hit an awesome pile driver senton combo. They gloat for too long though, allowing all three other teams to break up the pin. So the Bucks set up a Meltzer driver, but Private Party stopped them. Isaiah rolls up Matt, but he reverses into a roll-up of his own to secure the title shot at Full Gear. That was a great main event. Even though the outcome was predictable, Everyone got a chance to shine and came out looking better than they went in. It's not even fair anymore how much better the AEW tag division is than WWE. FTR come to the ring and offer the Bucks a celebratory beer, but they smack them out of their hands. Suddenly, a man wearing a bandana attacks the Bucks with a chair. FTR give Nick a pile driver and Pillmanize Matt's leg before the masked man reveals himself as Tully Blanchard. Commentary questions if the Bucks will be able to compete at Full Gear. First of all, that episode was absolutely amazing from start to finish. Second, and most interestingly, despite being 3 weeks out from their next pay-per-view, AEW just gave us a better go-home show than WWE, who has a pay-per-view this Sunday. Seriously, they hyped up Full Gear all night long, and now I'm way more pumped for that than Hell in a Cell. Here, just take my money. We don't even need the next 3 weeks of build. I'm ready now. Seriously, between Jungle Boy, Pentagon, Rey Fenix, Hangman Page, all those tag teams, and even the women, I can't remember the last time I saw TV wrestling this good, let alone consistent across a 2-hour show. The promo work was equally mind-blowing, with the obvious highlight being Moxley and Eddie Kingston, who are just on a whole other level right now. And then there was the Dinner Debonair. I really don't know what else to say about that. Chris Jericho is now the undisputed GOAT. Not just for everything he's done up until this point, but because he and MJF are the only people on the planet that could have pulled off this utter nonsense. That episode was 5 stars. Thank you, AEW, for giving us this wonderful show in these dark times. Alright, that'll do it for AEW Dynamite. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I'll be back on Saturday with my action figure review of SmackDown. I'll also be doing predictions and an action figure review for this Sunday's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, so keep an eye out for those. As always, if you found me and enjoy my content, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on Twitter at PSUOptimus. Or see all my best figure photography over on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen my review of Monday Night Raw, you can check that out right here. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.